Hello, my name is Professor Babette Belter, and today we are going to talk about performance and practice tips as you prepare the technical etude on page 29 of your selected study books for Oklahoma All-State auditions. The first thing you'll notice when you begin working on this etude is that it involves a lot of alternate fingerings in order to execute the music quickly, evenly, and accurately. Before you even begin to practice this etude, it would be wise to mark in all of your alternate fingerings before you begin practicing. For instance, in measure 1, you want to begin the etude on a side F sharp, and that fingering will carry through all the way until the last note of the first measure, where you're going to flip to front F sharp so that you can easily get to the downbeat of measure 2 with C sharp on the right. In measure 2, beat 2, you'll actually want to have a front F sharp flipping to your E sharp, which is F natural, and then back to the front F sharp, and then to a fork F sharp on beat 3. You'll find that the whole etude is packed full of a lot of alternate fingering, so be sure to mark those. Practice this etude very slowly with your metronome at first and strive for the following attributes. Evenness throughout. Be sure not to clip or shorten the last note of each beat in the first section. Strive for a musical approach to your lines. Do not just play the notes. Allow each phrase to have shape and personality. This makes it so much more satisfying for you, the performer, and for the judges to listen to. Remember to record yourself frequently, and when you listen back to your recordings, ask yourself these questions. Do I hear the shapes that I want to make? Are they coming through? Sometimes we feel we're doing more than we actually are. Are my lines even? Am I communicating my musical ideas? Remember, music is a language, and it is how we communicate to our audience. Try to eliminate body tension when performing this etude. Strive for very relaxed hands. If you have tension in your hands while you're playing, move your metronome down a bit to a slightly slower tempo. And then once you feel relaxed at that tempo, gradually inch it back up. It's also worth starting a practice journal where you keep track of your progress. This will help you keep focused during your practice sessions. Notice the changes in articulation that occur throughout this etude. The first section has every beat slurred, or every 3 notes. In the middle section that begins at measure 18, the articulation changes to slur 2, tongue 1. Here, keep your articulation light, lifted, and energized. In the final section, the articulation changes yet again, and we're slurring full measures. However, the notes are identical to the first section. I breathe at the end of the ties in this etude. So for instance, at the end of the tie on the C sharp in measure 7 and measure 38, and then on the tie at the end of the high E in measure 27. For breathing purposes, I chose to put a slight retard at the end of measure 31 before the beginning of the final section. I feel that it works nicely from a breathing standpoint and from a musical perspective. Sometimes we become so worried about our technique when playing a fast etude that we forget about the so-called easy parts. In this etude, be sure to hold your half notes full value at the end of sections 1 and 3. Finally, I cannot emphasize enough how important slow practice is for this etude. Remember, a clean etude played slowly is going to be far more impressive than a fast, sloppy etude. Also, it might be a good idea to start this etude just slightly slower than you normally would play it when you're in the audition room. Oftentimes, adrenaline can get the best of us, and we tend to get in trouble by starting a piece too fast. Sometimes I'll even write in the upper corner, think tempo or not too fast, to remind myself to think about that before I start the etude. Good luck as you prepare this fun and exciting etude.